Hey everybody, this is Jimmy Pockets, aka James of Empty Pockets Garage. I usually go live when I talk about stuff like this, but I figured I'd just do a short video of my thoughts and opinions. A lot of this major news stuff everybody already knows, but I just thought I'd give you my stance on this, and I may be thinking a little bit different than most about this whole escalation between Ukraine and Russia and our involvement in it, and the real fears for me about what might be happening right now. So, anyways, so Biden reversing the policy, allowing Ukraine to shoot the long range missiles into Russia, which, from what I understand from news reports, uh, they failed or whatever. They missed their target, or at least I think that's what Russia is saying. It didn't do any real damage. But then Russia fires a ballistic missile, which I believe travels Mach 10 into Ukraine just to prove that he can. Basically, a test, a warning. Uh, I seen where he got on their television network over there, and said that could have easily had, uh, I guess, a half dozen nukes could have been attached to that ballistic missile, because from what I understand, they go up in the atmosphere, they come down, and then they can shoot off in the warheads like 6 to 8 or something of nuclear tipped projectiles, which I guess explode above the surface of the earth, which causes widespread catastrophic damage as far as radiation and burning and all this other stuff that comes along with it, depending on the size of the warheads. How'd we get here? And why would we change a reverse policy and provoke Russia by using? I mean, I know we've been giving them military equipment and been giving them billions and billions of dollars. And I hate to say it, this is wasted money. Now you got North Korea is getting involved to help Russia. China's getting involved to help Russia. Do we really want a war with all these countries over what we know? What Putin's whole goal here is to gain that port, and I can't remember the name of the city. He wanted a portion of Ukraine back, which they're claiming was theirs in the first place, to gain port of entry into the Black Sea. I think it is what's over there. I'm not saying I'm an expert on this, but I believe this is what this is all about at the core of it. The thing about that is, and let's talk about this other stuff that's going on. So now communication underwater or underground, it's in the water. Communication lines were cut between uh, the landmass of going through like Ukraine to Germany and like into Sweden. So we had like two separate lines that were cut. So they detained a Chinese vessel. Coincidence? Come on. So they're saying they didn't realize they drug it or whatever. I don't know. I guess an anchor can do this. It's just, if that's the case, it's just super bad timing. Uh, and who you gonna believe at this point? Because we know that Ukraine was involved in the deal with blowing up the pipeline, Russia's pipeline, several months back. So, you know, this is starting to affect the rest of the world. And here's where I differ a little bit from other people is I worry about the nuclear stuff, but Russia actually called our, I guess they call the Pentagon or the White House or whoever, the channels that we have with communications to let somebody know that, hey, we're shooting this off because we can detect it within like less than a minute. And they can detect if we fire one of those off in less than a minute and can and know where it's going in less than like 5 minutes. Uh, Saying that, they let us know that they were firing that into Ukraine and that it was nothing, it was not being fired towards us, or and it did not have nukes on it. So they're saber rattling. So saying that, the big thing here is Tulsi Gabbard said it on X. If you guys go on X and just bring up Tulsi Gabbard, um, Biohazard Labs, or something like that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There is, and we, and you guys, this is bad because you guys got to remember COVID. COVID, one virus leaked out of a lab in China, supposedly. They still haven't admitted it. But what did that virus do to the whole world? Now, I guess there is 25 to 30 of these labs in Ukraine, and a lot of them are financed by us for gain of function, biohazard, uh, how you say it. Let me see how you say it. Yeah, biohazard testing for highly contagious infectious diseases. That's what I worry about. It's bad enough that we had one virus get out from China and it did what it did across the whole world. Now imagine any of these things happening to these labs in Ukraine. My thing is because when he's talking about using nuclear weapons, they're talking about using low grade tactical nuclear weapons that they can fire from a launcher. Believe it or not, they make those things. They're very small and they do cause damage, and as a nuclear weapon would, but it would not wipe out an entire town. It depends on how many it fire, I guess, but it would wipe out several blocks of non-inhabitable area to live. My thing is, if they do that, the best scenario possible is that hits the lab because the nuke would deteriorate the hazardous material in those labs that would not leak out into the world because these infectious diseases know no borders. When they're out into the world, they're out into the world. And a lot of these we don't have vaccines for. Case in point, COVID. And from what I understand, there's far more vicious viruses out there to die from than what COVID was. Now imagine that. So, and I don't want to get off too long on this, but that's what I worry about is what's the game plan here? What are they doing? And then I seen where he also said that he would be willing to sit down and negotiate something with Zelensky if President Trump was part of the negotiation. All we need to do is get through this next couple months. And this whole election is a game changer. It really is. So hopefully President Trump can speak to, unofficially, I guess, to Zelensky and Putin and calm it down a little bit. You know, figure out some kind of a temporary ceasefire for the moment, and then each one of them think about what they want out of this, and they got to be realistic about their goals on this. But that's something in the future. But I just hope that there's something that President Trump can do about this to keep this from getting worse and dragging the rest of the world into it, because nobody wants that. So, saying that, I was sad to see that Matt Gaetz withdrew his nomination for Attorney General, because I really thought he'd do a good job. Now I understand his point of view, that all the baggage that the left is trying to throw in on this about this whole deal uh, with the ethics uh, committee and all that other stuff, you know, and I get what he's saying. He wants all the nominees that Trump appointed to go in there and everybody have, you know, uh, I don't want to say clean hands, because that makes it sound like they did something wrong, but you know, above reproach is basically what Matt Gaetz is saying. He wants Trump to win. He wants us all to win. And if that means him not being Attorney General, uh, then it is what it is. Saying that, he can still, because he is a congressman elect, he can still take his position back uh, that he gave up to accept this nomination. Saying that, he also can, think about this, is because Marco Rubio, we pretty much know he's going to get he's going to get this nomination. It's going to go through. Well, then DeSantis can put who he wants to replace Marco Rubio in that position, and who he wants in Matt Gaetz' old position if he wants Matt Gaetz to be the senator instead of just a congressman. Bunch of little scenarios going on in there. We'll see what happens in the future. But any of you guys watch The View? Have you seen that every day this past week or so, they've had to do some kind of a legal disclaimer from shit they said from the day before, because they literally they literally have Trump derangement syndrome. I don't know what's wrong with these ladies. Uh, if it's somebody that Trump is interested in and doing anything, whether it be Matt Gaetz or Pete Hegseth, sorry, uh, they want to say crackpot things about him, and then they have to do a disclaimer the next day. My thing is, why say it in the first place? Do an honest reflection of the individual that you may not like them. You may not like their policy or how they, they're obviously, you don't like it because they're on the right, but to try to demean and destroy and then have to do a legal thing the next day to keep your asses out of court. I mean, you can say stupid crap every day of the week and then just do a disclaimer the next day. And then the way it's done, I mean, Sunny Holston is a despicable person. She does it with such nastiness when she does her legal note to cover their butt from the stuff they said the previous day. I don't know about these ladies. I wish they would just, because the View used to be a decent show. I've watched them for years. Just the last, I don't know, I guess since Trump was on president first time, and and they were all friends before. I seen where Whoopi said she was not friends with Donald Trump. She was mad at Donald Trump because Donald Trump was talking about the President Obama not being born here. She was mad at him for that. They were friends before all that. So, and she did not like called him all kinds of foul, vicious names until after he ran for president. So, anyways, I just wanted to get on here and put my point of view in here on this change of policy with the missile thing and how dangerous it is, and what my real thoughts about what the real danger is, which is the labs, doing the gain of function research on biohazard infectious diseases. So, y'all, let me know what you think and comment. Uh, I'll see a lot of you guys. I'll see you Friday afternoon, 6:30 uh, Eastern time on Jimmy Pocket's channel. So until then, please like, subscribe. Like I said, give me some comments, share it if you find any value in my ramblings. That's all I am, an old guy, an old mechanic, just rambling on what I think about what's going on in the world. Do all those things. I would appreciate it. But